What is up, true believers? The eternal truth. The eternal truth. The eternal truth. The eternal truth behind our modern mythology.
What is up, true believers? It's Mason here with Comics and Crosses, where we discuss the eternal truths behind our modern mythology. And today is Wednesday, a Walking Dead Wednesday, and a happy new comic book day to everybody. I hope that your day is filled with all your expectations met. What is up? I'm assuming this is Sergio, my buddy from House of Nerds show. Thanks for dropping in, my friend. Yes, so happy new comic book day. I hope that you all get everything on your pull, that Diamond is not delayed, and that you have a blessed day for real. That may be a lot to ask though, because my indie books have been delayed past few weeks through Diamond, and it's kind of discouraging because I like to be able to share my favorite book from the week. And, and usually it's an indie book. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff that's coming out. In fact, let's review what we got coming out today. So I am super excited about Batman the Knight. I think I mentioned this yesterday on the show. So this is actually Chip Zdarsky doing a Batman tale, but actually a Bruce Wayne tale. So kind of if you were into like Smallville, if you were into kind of these stories that explore the heroes before they were heroes, I mean, even Gotham was kind of about a little kid Bruce Wayne. I think some of that stuff gets a little silly, because to tell me that, our heroes met all these villains when they were kids, and, it's a bit much. But regardless, I'm excited about the Knight because I'm a big fan of Zdarsky. I'm a big fan of what he's doing over on Daredevil, which I'm catching up. I'm a little behind on that series, but I feel like he really nails the essence of that character. There's some cool stuff with Elektra, going on in Daredevil's world. If you haven't heard, Daredevil Woman Without Fear is a thing. Elektra's getting it done. Now, here's what I was wondering when I was reading Daredevil recently. Elektra is like a killer assassin, right? I just have a hard time believing that she can manage all that hair while she's like straight killing people. Like, I have kind of curly, wavy hair. It gets pretty wild the longer it gets. And I can't imagine having big, thick, massive, curly, wavy hair and like flipping around on rooftops and like running people through with size, you know what I mean? Like if somebody was in a fight with me to the death, I'm thinking they're gonna grab my big old hair, you know what I mean? I don't know, but I guess there's a whole idea of suspended disbelief when it comes to creative stories, imagination, but I think it's a design flaw. And it's just too little too late to turn back. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. But regardless, Elektra's always been pretty dope, pretty hardcore, and it's interesting to see her kind of take up the mantle, and then we'll see where it goes from here. So another exciting thing out today, let's see, Moon Knight has been another solid ongoing. Thank you, bro. Moon Knight from Jed MacKay has been really cool, a really interesting series, yeah. And there's a lot of hype obviously out right now with Moon Knight. His trailer is dropped, the Oscar Isaac version on Disney Plus. And I'm kind of excited to see it. I mean, Moon Knight is such a brutal, like hardcore kind of book. He's like Batman if Batman was just gruesomely violent like, had a little less limits to him. I mean, Batman, we already talked about how he's kind of unhinged and has similarities to his rogues gallery. Well, Moon Knight is like being unhinged is kind of his thing. Like that's what he leads with. So so for Moon Knight to have a Disney Plus series that's a little, maybe it looks like it's going to be kind of tempered down, is a little disappointing. I mean, I'll be interested to see what they do with it, how far they take it. But something about these Disney Plus series kind of lack a threatening sense of that anything really bad's going to happen or anything, and even with everything that Marvel's doing, they can kind of feel like filler, and like, oh, this is just setting something up. So that's kind of a critique that I have of them, and it's something that kind of takes away from the Marvel shows, in my opinion. But but maybe you feel different. I don't know. Let me know. And yeah, so Moon Knight comes out this week. That's been a solid, really interesting story. Also, if you've been digging Ben Reilly being back, the Scarlet Spider-Man in Amazing Spider-Man, he's getting his own little mini series, I think, kind of talking about him. And another cool one though is Time Before Time. Time Before Time from Image is like a it's kind of funny because it's a super grounded like time travel thing. If thinking about Disney Plus shows have been unremarkable in my opinion. Yep, then I think you and I feel the same way. They've been sort of a letdown. I mean, much of Phase 4 has been underwhelming. That's very true. I really dug Spider-Man No Way Home, but yeah, Phase 4. I mean, I think there's been a lot of things. The pandemic, all this stuff that's really kind of thrown off Marvel's thing. I think it seems like they're jumping to a ton of fan service to try to redeem themselves and pull themselves out of a hole that they dug for themselves. They killed off major characters, spoiler warning, for Endgame circa 2020. But so it'll be interesting to see. My hope is that they lead to a Secret Wars and then they reboot the whole thing and we can actually have a cinematic universe where all of these characters are coexisting, where Spider-Man's hanging out with, could see the Avengers and the X-Men and, all that cool stuff. But we'll have to see. That's possibly 10 years from now. Yeah, but Time Before Time is Declan Shalvey. Hopefully I'm not messing up his name. I guess he has a co-writer on this, Rory McConville, and Joe Palmer is the artist. The art's kind of gritty, kind of a dirty feel to it, but it really matches the story. It's like time travel if it was totally grounded in just the realities of the world. Like it's time travel, but it's used by corporations and basically people who use the service are kind of like indentured servants and get themselves into so much debt that they have to work for the company. And it's kind of like almost like a heist gone wrong. But the first issue was really cool on this series, and I've just kind of been hanging with it since. And it's fun. It's kind of like a doofus kind of running a heist kind of thing that just keeps getting worse and worse. So anyway, so those are some things that are coming out. We Only Find Them When They're Dead, number 10 comes out today from Al Ewing. And that was the first book I ever reviewed on my channel, was We Only Find Them When They're Dead, number 1. The series has taken some interesting turns, and it's really become this thing that kind of is an interesting commentary on religion and on the things that people worship and what becomes sacred to people. And it really kind of turned out a little different than I originally thought. But the premise is that there's these dead gods that people find floating in space, and they harvest parts of them as natural resources, incredibly valuable natural resources. And so it's really interesting kind of allegory and interesting to see the people and their behavior. Oh, we got a big fan of Time Before Time art. Need to catch up on that series as well. Yeah. that yeah, depending on the kind of art style you're into, I think it's perfect for that series, Time Before Time's art. But yeah, and so We Only Find Them When They're Dead. That is out. So yeah, so some good stuff. And something that I'm getting today when I head by the comic shop or whenever I do is actually I'm getting some more back issues of Radiant Black. So I don't know if anybody out there is reading Radiant Black, but I actually gave up on this series after issue 3, and here's how I felt about it. Um, I thought the writing was excellent, the art was great, and I didn't like the main character. I thought this is like a guy he just didn't seem motivated enough. The spoiler warning, but in Radiant Black, his superpower kind of comes to him, like literally just kind of appears, and then he gets this superpower. So in Radiant Black, probably the first issue, and so I was a little so I was a little like, like I don't know, I just don't care about this main character. And somebody at the comic shop was like, hey, I don't want to spoil it for you, but things kind of change up in the series and da 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 da. So if you're reading it, So I'm like, oh shoot, okay. So I'm gonna try to get back into that a little bit. So I got some back issues waiting for me, and we'll see. Radiant Black actually has a one shot kind of coming up called Supermassive, I think. And it's going to be him and introducing some other characters, kind of expanding the Radiant Black or Radiant the Radiant verse. I should hashtag that and get royalties every time somebody uses it. Hashtag Radiant verse. I think that's what they're creating. So anyways, that's a little bit of what's coming out on New Comic Book Day and what's going down. Another thing I wanted to mention is I started this last week, and you may have missed it if you just weren't on the show, or even if you tried to watch the show, because I had so many technical issues. I don't know. I think it was StreamYard itself just was not broadcasting. It kept breaking up my audio. So, but I'm doing now, since last week, I started doing something I'm calling Walking Dead Wednesdays, because I am a true newbie to The Walking Dead. I have never read any of the comics. I have never watched the show. I've never seen any of it. And so I actually started, when they started releasing The Walking Dead Deluxe, I thought, oh, cool, this is a perfect chance for me to get into the series and to experience it, since I've never experienced it. It's obviously was a hit comic book series. It became a hit TV show that they may have spinoffs still running. I don't even know what the status is on the TV show, because I've never watched it myself. So I thought, and I know that there's so many people who love this series and are all about it. I keep hearing that people say, oh man, the first 50 to 60 issues are just magic. That's kind of a common theme, although it goes over 100 plus issues. So we'll see how far I want to take this ride, but yeah, so I read issue 2. I'm on issue 2 this week. So far, our main character Rick has woken up from a coma to find out that zombies seem to have overtaken presumably the world. And in this issue, he actually gets to the big city. He gets to Atlanta to find that the cities that were supposed to be safe havens for everybody, that the government told everybody to go to the cities so that they could protect them. Excuse me. Well, it turns out that that just became a quicker way for it to spread, and everyone in the city is zombies. So he's discouraged, because that's where he went looking for his wife and kids. And I will say that I really enjoy the art. I don't know if I would enjoy it as much if it were in black and white, but it's really cool. It's really just some of the scenes where you see him as a small little guy, and then just the big, massive cityscape where cars are abandoned and everything looks run down, and it's really cool. And I'm really grateful I get to experience it in color. And I wonder if I would have kept with it if it was black and white. I just don't know. Um, but but yeah, a really cool issue, something, exciting and hopeful kind of happens at the end, and then and he finds a horse in this story, and so I did see that in the show, he in the Netflix or wherever it is picture of it, he's on a horse, but so although that didn't go super great, but excuse me. So I got to say that, I can already see why this was such a hit. Like it really is it's funny because we've all seen 1,000,001 zombie stories. Um, but I'm drawn into it. I'm like, okay, this is really, I want to see what happens. Does he find his family? Like, what's going on? So, so it's cool. It's cool so far. I'm digging it. I definitely want to keep going further. So next Wednesday, I'll talk to you about my experience with Walking Dead 3. But speaking of zombie comics, there's actually I think the FOC is already passed, but there's something from a Blaze called coming out next month called Life Zero, I believe. And I'm actually picking that one up. I wanted to check that out just because it's got Marco Cicchetto on it, who's done. I really love his artwork on Daredevil. And normally I don't go by artist, but it just seemed kind of cool. It seemed like it might be a fun ride. So that's coming out, and it's not super clear. It sounds kind of zombie post-apocalyptic, but we'll see. Here's a question I want to ask today. Why do we love zombies? Why do people like zombie stories? Because I remember that, when I was maybe in high school or, late teens, I had gotten to the point already at that age, and I'm 35 now, but I remember being like, I'm done with zombie movies. I do not enjoy them. Like there was what was it, Dawn of the Dead? There was all these movies that came out. Oh, even the original Resident Evil movies, when those first came out, which are kind of a little different, kind of more like, I don't know, corporation created zombie monsters, maybe. But because even early on, I was like, okay, somebody is going to get bit, by a zombie, and they're not going to want to tell everybody, or people are going to be like, no, I don't want to kill them. This is my friend. And then they're going to become a zombie and they're going to bite more people. It's going to become a disaster. And they're all kind of like predictable and the same sort of thing to me. But what is it that's so great about zombie things? I think that it's obviously a trope that you see a lot in comics, and in movies and TV shows. What I did enjoy was Zombieland. That one's pretty fun. And in there, the zombies run, at least. So it makes it a little kind of funnier and interesting. That's a pretty funny movie. But it got me thinking too, because I actually just listened to this interesting talk from, there's a Dr. Caroline Leaf, who's a neuroscience expert. She speaks at all kinds of events and TED Talks and conferences and things like this. And she was talking about how that, we have a brain, but we are not our brain. Like, we have a brain, but we also have a mind, right? So you are your mind. You're not your brain. Because when you die, your body still has a brain, correct? But you don't have your mind. Your mind is not present anymore. And that people actually, when they die, they weigh less. There was a movie called 38 Grams or something like that, that was the meaning of the title of the movie too, was like basically the weight that a human body will lose when somebody passes. That, is that the weight of the soul? Is that the weight of the mind, kind of idea? And it's just interesting to think about that. It's interesting to look at these zombie kind of stories and think about what it is that characterizes life I mean, maybe that's not what you think of when you think of a zombie movie. But anyway, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about, um, why is it that the zombies want to eat brains, or maybe they just want to eat people? And why do we always want to read these stories or watch these movies? Like, what is it that draws people to them? And I think it's survival. I think um, being faced with death, you know, and essentially a zombie is like death incarnate, is like an embodiment of death. It's a brain without a mind, it's a brain without a soul, without any life. And essentially it is like a walking warning of death that is always coming for us, but perhaps a little quicker in the form of a zombie. Yeah. So, so those great kind of raw survival type stories are cool because in facing death, we kind of learn a lot more about about who we are, about what life means to us. Because I guarantee you, you meet somebody and they're going to be maybe polite, maybe rude. They're going to be some version of themselves, but you meet somebody in a life or death situation, and you're probably seeing that is that person. There's something about stress and that really reveals, kind of takes away all kind of a facade, all kind of facade. So yeah, so I'm down for a good zombie story. Maybe share what is your favorite zombie story? Is there a movie or a comic book that you think did it really well? That you think was kind of surprised your presuppositions about the genre, about what a zombie story was? Oh, got my wifey in the chat. We're just talking zombies and and the meaning of what it is to be alive. Um, but yeah, I don't think my wife has any favorite zombie stories. I'm probably pretty sure. I don't know that she's ever seen a zombie movie. Um, oh, gotta love it. I don't know comics, but I love you. Hey, that's some ride or die support right there. I was just I was just talking to, I forget his name, but I was having a chat on Twitter yesterday with a guy who uh, is he he is trying to go on dating sites, and when he mentions that he's into anime, into comics, that he's a nerd, this girl bounced on him. She was like, yeah, no thanks. and and I'm like, bro, maybe don't lead with the nerd part, like let her get to know you first. And he's like, I don't want to catfish this girl, or I don't want to catfish anybody. And then it led into kind of a funny conversations about wives and girlfriends being willing to be into comic book stuff. And my wife has read a graphic novel, Firepower, actually, The Prelude, which was a really cool single story. But she's not I have a harder time getting her to watch certain stuff. Although every time I do convince her, she's like, "Oh wow, you were right. That was really good." Because I know what I'm talking about. Zombie films for me are great for different reasons. I enjoy Romero's social commentary in his films. Yeah, there's I think, but I do like it. I do like, because it's such a used genre. I like it when somebody's able to put a different spin on it. For example, I really loved what was it called? Bleed Them Dry. It was a series from Vault Comics that was like it was like samurais and vampires. And it was like it was like this future kind of story where vampires were present in the world, and in history, like there were like samurais who were made vampires to actually take out the vampires, and and they lived for a long time. And it was a really, it's cooler than I'm making it sound, but it was an interesting spin on the whole idea. Even gosh, now I'm talking vampires, but like Philadelphia, another really cool twist on on the vampire genre. And but zombies, I'm trying Zombieland. See, I mentioned Zombieland the movie because that was a fun twist on something you felt like you knew, right? So got some support for the wifey. She's a real one. Yeah, she hangs in there. I got her to watch Terminator 2, and she thought that was amazing because it is. What else? I got her to watch Star Wars. She didn't know that Darth Vader was Luke's father, so I got to watch her experience that in real time. That was cool. My wife says, I like murder mystery. What can I say? Yeah, you like what you like. You know what I mean? So anyhow, yeah, I thanks guys, whoever's hung out for the little conversation today. Just some fun comic talk to get you going for the day. And I hope that if you haven't read Walking Dead, I hope I'm not ruining it for you. I hope you go out and get it. I got probably the first 24 issues or so in color, and then I actually have some of the hardcover volumes for later. I just started doing that, so I'm excited to go through this and experience it with the people. So thank you for tuning in to the Comics and Crosses morning show. I hope you have a blessed and awesome day. Hope you get all your books. Let me know what you think of zombies. If you're watching this on replay, feel free to fill up the comment section. And let's see. Oh boy. Yeah, gotta watch what you say when the wifey's on, huh? And yeah, so we will catch you next time on Friday at 8 a.m. Central. And thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 a.m. Central, Comics and Crosses morning show. God bless y'all. I'll catch you next.